Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome. Hi there, Lady Jen again. Welcome to another Jen's Jots. I wanted to share with you today something about making that first impression versus a last impression or a lasting impression. It could be either one of them. I remember when I was back, working back in the corporate world, in the corporate office, and we always had a receptionist in the beginning. And we kept saying, one of the most important things that we need to have in our business is that receptionist. And I still believe this today. I mean, I happened to go to the doctor the other day, and I was standing in front of the receptionist, and she didn't bother to look up, not at all. And actually, this happened in San Juan a couple of weeks ago. I was checking into the hotel before I went on a cruise, and nobody was standing in line. The new receptionist desk, the check-in desk when you walk into a hotel now, it's all these independent. It's not that big long one that it used to be. It's all these independent little, stand-up desks. And there was a person there. There were two people there, and nobody's standing in line. And so I stood in between them, kind of waiting for which one would call me. And one started talking to somebody else who came up, and the other one just kept looking at her computer. And I stood there for probably 3 or 4 minutes. And when I finally got there, you have to know me, with being an engineer, I'm looking at how efficiencies and how things can be fixed. And as soon as someone called me, I said, I've been standing there for 3 minutes. And I said, that's unacceptable. And so I was a little stinker, but then I was nice. I started getting nice and I made sure that, she didn't spit in anything. But that first impression is huge. It is so big, and it's so important, for your reputation and for the client experience. So, I want to talk to you about how do you make a good first impression, but then we're also going to talk about the importance of making a last impression. And I think this can be more important because in business, we win some, we lose some. And the way that we handle that going forward, I think is even more important than that first impression, because it's the last thing that they remember. So, they made up for it. This hotel made up for it. And so did the medical place. I loved the doctor and I loved the nurses and all that. But I got past it, but here I am talking about it. So it definitely means that it had an impression. And so, if that first impression is not good, can the last impression be so substantial, that you can't remember the first impression, right? And if you don't have your eyes on this and you're not aware of it, then it's up for chance. So in both cases, let me tell you this. With the medical place, the first impression was not good. The last impression was good, but it wasn't enough for me to forget the first impression, because they have no awareness of it. They didn't bother to ask me. I call that course correction during the process, during that client's experience, that someone says, how are we treating you? How are things going? That last impression, so that I can be aware of that last impression, change the course, and get that 5-star rating. Now, in the case of the hotel, while I was at the hotel, and you've probably all experienced this as well, that you'll get a text from the hotel now saying, hey, how's your stay? I'm your concierge, etc. And I got that text, and I'm pretty forward about everything. I said, well, actually, it's not been that good. Well, I got a knock on the door. I happened to be in the room. I got a knock on the door, and I don't know how they knew that. Like, do they know when you swipe your card that you're in the room? Got a knock on the door, and it was a concierge, and he said, I got your text, and I just want to apologize for that. I've talked to people at the front desk. And I just want to offer you a complimentary dinner or breakfast. I can't remember what it was, which we couldn't take advantage of because we were leaving on the cruise. But I just want to offer that to you, and I want you to know I heard you. Well, see, that leaves a different last impression, because that's course correction. This is happening. One, they're aware of it because they asked, and I was honest about the response. And two, they took action on it. right? That's so key. It's one thing to say, oh, I'm sorry that you're having a bad time, or not even responding at all to me. And me going, well, I put it out there and no one bothered, right? So that lasting impression means that I'll go back there. Now, I'm going to go back to the doctor too, but um, next time this happens, I'm going to say something. I didn't say anything, but guess what? It is not your client's responsibility to say something. It's for you to increase your awareness to ask, right? If you want a 5-star rating, if you want great testimonials, if you want great Yelp, whatever it is that you do, if you want all those great things, you have to do some course correction. At high-end restaurants, the manager always comes over and says, how's everything going? Are we treating you okay? And and we're like, oh, well, we need some water. They're like, bring me some water. We need some water right now, right? That's the course correction. You don't find that in a diner. Hmm? Yeah. So if you want to be an elite business, which is what I coach on, right? Becoming that elite business that isn't superficial, isn't skimming, isn't casual about their business. They're really clear about the character and the reputation and being an expert and wanting to serve at a highest level. Then you need to increase the awareness in your business, regardless of where your business is. You might be a startup, you might be a seasoned business owner, and there's just something missing. Or maybe you want to look to enhance the client experience so that you can create a revolving door of referrals coming back to you. Because when the last impression is good, they tell everybody. When the first impression isn't good, they tell everybody, right? That's that's how it goes. So it's important to have that first impression. It's important to have the awareness, have that keen awareness and putting this into your system, into your process, your standard operating procedures. To put this in, to have that check-in. I had it when I was in the mortgage business. I had a check-in that was just, hey, what's keeping you up at night? What is it that is concerning you about the process? Are we taking care of you? Has everyone been responsive? Has everyone been cordial? What can we answer for you next so that we can help you? Right. And every time we got referrals, every time, that I've talked about this before, one and one versus one and done, right? I don't want one client and be done and then go on and try to find a lead. I want one and one and one and one and one. I want those opportunities within the client experience while they're going through the client experience. When your love-o-meter is at its peak, right? But you got to make sure it stays at its peak during that entire client experience, that process that you put your clients through with business. So, last impression is just as important as that first impression. They're all important. And so, look at your process, your procedures, your customer experience. We don't say customer service anymore, it's CX, customer experience. Making sure that the first impression is great, that you have a course correction check-in, and you should do that if at all possible, so that you can make the changes in the business and in the process and in your team, maybe training them a little bit more. And then what is that last impression? Are you committing to keep in touch with them? Now that the transaction is completed and the business is done and the service that you provide is completed, what does that look like afterwards? Have you committed to stay in touch with them? Well, then stay in touch with them, because that still is a lasting impression that hangs out there for quite some time. It could be years and years and years if you're nurturing your database, right? Bringing them back in for client appreciation events, bringing them back in for more opportunities to work with you, because you grow and they grow. And so don't think that it's a silo of, well, they learned this from me, they got this product or service from me, and now it's frozen in time. It's not. You may start developing new things that would be a benefit for them. You may develop new products. Life changes, life events happen to them, and they may need you again. So don't let it just hang out there in the wind, blowing in the wind. Make sure that that lasting impression stays with them as long as they want you to communicate with them. I stay in touch with my clients until they say stop, right? I don't make assumptions that, they're probably tired of hearing from me, etc. No, I stay in touch with them until they say they're done hearing from me. So put these into place. That's your call to action, is put these into place. And you want more information about this, you want some more details about that, I'm always having master classes. Check out jenduplessis.com. We always have events up there. We're always having master classes where I'm teaching this and other things. Or just go to chatwithjen.com, schedule time to meet with me so that we can talk about what the future might look for you in working with me. And I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the Vine, so keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.